He's got such a great energy, and the animators really captured it.
Look at this face! What do you mean the animators really captured? What the hell is that? It's like the most deer in headlights stare anyone could possibly animate. This is your fault, John.
He's got such a great energy, and the animators really captured it.
What do you mean? What the hell do you mean? What do you mean they what? How did the animators really captured what? That he's like walking? So yeah, I don't know. I like how he's explaining it. They overhunt the lands. I guess you could call this a criticism with the original too. Because it's like, I don't know. The original, it was just like, I don't know, God or whatever. God was mad, and then there was a drought. But in this one, he's like, when you overhunt the lands, it's like, I don't know. What were those hyenas eating before? It's not like that. The hyenas just moved a little bit. They had to have been eating something before.
Even in the original film, the lionesses are designed very similarly.
I love this. I like how he tries to say, even in the original film, as though anyone was confused over which character was which. Yeah, there's lionesses in the background that are designed very similarly. But you can tell the difference between Sarabi and Nala, the only two lionesses that matter to the story. You can tell the difference, like, just because you can't tell the difference between, like, two nameless lions in the background. That doesn't mean it's anything close to the same as what you did here, where you literally can't tell the difference between the actual speaking characters.
And again, here, so you know, she had to say, Sarabi has to say, Nala, so you know who left. And again, here, so that we know, she had to say, Sarabi has to say, Nala, so you know who left.
I can't believe he says it. He's like, yeah, we had to make them say the other characters' names because otherwise nobody would have any fucking clue who they are. And literally, I didn't know it was Nala until she said that. And that's at the end of the scene. That's at the end of the scene. The whole scene went by and I thought it was Sarabi. Because we just saw Sarabi and Scar in the previous scene. So it was like, oh yeah, it's Sarabi is trying to fuck with Scar now. And it's like, nope, that was Nala, I guess.
And this was an opportunity to, because it wouldn't work as it was. And so the idea came, maybe we could have something that really leans into that kind of documentary style exploration.
Why? Why though? Why would you haven't justified it?
And this was an opportunity to, because it wouldn't work as it was. So
why? Clip from that, because he says the word documentary. I'm going to make a compilation of every time he says that.
And this was an opportunity to, because it wouldn't work as it was. And so the idea came into the story that he was such a big part of. And I love just the eyes of that render of how Rafiki
smells like shit.
And then we're back in the old movie. How the old movie plays.
It's Simba.
There's the theme so triumphantly played in the choir.
Now this hopefully looks like just a straight up.
He's gonna be. By the time I'm done this compilation of him saying documentary, it's gonna be like 100 fucking times.
Now this hopefully looks like just a straight up documentary.
You know, like I can't believe it. I can't believe how much he says it. And just how wrong that is.
Who all pop after? Oh.
That shot doesn't even look great.
Connie. Great John Connie, South Africa.
Like, oh my god, that tree doesn't look good. The animation's looking worse and worse the more I look at it. It's so there's some shots that look good.
John Connie.
Like,
great
look at
John
that.
Connie, South African.
It looks like a Five Nights at Freddy's tree. It's like if somebody put a tree in the Five Nights at Freddy's game engine.
John Connie. Great John Connie.
What the hell is that? That looks like shit.
We definitely made him more of a mentor type figure, and he's comic relief to some extent, but really wanted to give him more of a strong mentor presence. And really good work here. This is one of the later scenes.
It's like he's comic relief. It's comic relief to some extent, but we really wanted to give him more of a mentor presence. What do you mean? He's like not comic relief at all anymore. And how do you justify that by saying we wanted to make him more of a mentor presence? How was he not like... You literally removed the most important learning scene for Simba that Rafiki is supposed to tell him. You know, like he was a crazy mandrill or whatever in the original film. He was goofy and screamed a lot. He had a personality unlike this movie. But like he was still a mentor. He still taught him like, hey, you know, like the past can hurt, but if you can't run from it, learn from it, you know? Hits him on the head with a stick. It doesn't matter. It's in the past. Like, you got rid of that. What the fuck? You want him to be more of a mentor, but you got rid of that? Because you didn't want him to have the stick? Because you thought the stick was unrealistic? What are you talking about?
Changing, which we found that by changing.
Well, yeah, they took out that scene, and it's probably because they took away Rafiki's stick. Because he says right here, I think.
If I'm not mistaken, all of this is pretty.
Okay,
pretty
he
word.
hasn't talked about the stick yet. It's coming up in the fight scene because they actually give him the stick in the fight scene, and then I think Jon says at that moment, like, "Oh yeah, we didn't want him carrying a stick the whole movie, but then in this part, we felt like it was too important." It's like not this part, but like the fight scene. What? The stick wasn't important at all in the fight scene. It was important here. What are you You don't know what you're talking about. This is frustrating.
Lighting, which is kind of an old trick that they did in the old movies.
Who the fuck would have given a shit if Rafiki was like in the fight scene at the end and didn't have a stick? Who would have given any shit? The important part is where he teaches Simba the lesson that defines his character and completes his arc. Right? What are you talking about?
Coming out of them would it felt too stylized for us. And so
Too stylized.
done tastefully.
Tastefully?
Animators and performance lives in you.
Look at this fucking creepy monster.
The end credits. Lebo.
What the fuck is that?
The end credits.
That's terrifying. Are we supposed to like this character?
In you, and in the end credits.
What the fuck is this?
Lebo. Performance lives in you. It's a little thing, but that simulation of the dust of the sand, flying that backlit sand, and is so well done. And it's those little details that we concentrate on that actually contribute to the feeling of the movie. It's those little details. And of course, you lay the music over it, and it brings it all to life.
You've really focused on, like, the way the sand gets kicked up. That was your focus? And you just didn't give a shit about being able to relate to the characters in any way. Because to you, Jon, the emotion from a movie comes from the dust particles. Not the characters, the dust particles. The color of the ground.
And then we have...
That's such bad voice acting, I'm sorry. It's just so bad.
It's going to be dangerous.
Danger? Ha! I laugh in the face of danger.
Beyonce, I'm sorry. Queen Bee, you fucking suck. I'm sorry.
Oh, now it's gonna happen. Now, part of we couldn't have Rafiki walking around with a stick the whole time.
Oh god, this is where he says it.
Now, part of we couldn't have Rafiki walking around with a stick the whole time because they just don't really do that. It would have looked fake.
What the fuck are you talking about? They don't talk or sing either. What are you talking about, Jon? We could.
Now, part of we couldn't have Rafiki walking around with a stick the whole time because they just don't really do that. It would have looked fake. But he had to have a stick for the fight, so we figured he kept it hidden.
He had to have a stick for the fight, but not completing Simba's arc as a character. He had to have a stick for the fight. He literally said, they don't do that, but we changed our mind here because he had to have the stick for the fight. What are you talking about? You're stupid.
But he had to have a stick for the fight, so we figured he kept it hidden. I'm curious if people get that when we see it with the audience. If people remember the stick. It's like
That's so ridiculous, Jon. That is fucking ridiculous. I cannot believe you said that. That is fucking ridiculous. What the... Ugh.
And so now we get back in. Get away from my mother! That's a new line.
It's also like weird. He says that's a new line. What's really funny is when this line is delivered, when he says, "Get away from my mother, father." He sounds British for like no reason, and it's so weird.
My mother!
What?
Get away from my mother!
What? You want to do that take again, Donald?
Get away from my mother!
It's because he was talking with Chiwetel, probably.
That's it. You know, all looking at Beyonce's as a performer, just trying to carry some of that. That they're all behind her, all the lionesses.
What is he talking about?
We based the character of Nala off of Beyonce. Because we knew she couldn't act. So we just decided to make the character about her instead. We figured that was easier.
The way the eyelid picks up just slightly, exposing the pupil. Yeah, it's really nice subtle work.
Oh, they flash back to... I mean, they flash back to it in the original, but it's just so bad here.
Here we go. Right there. Beyonce calls in the cavalry here. It's later.
I don't know, I could be wrong, but it seems like as he's going through this commentary, when he says what a character's doing, he refers to them as the character name, except Beyonce, which he just says Beyonce did this. Because it's like, it doesn't feel like a character. It doesn't feel like Nala. It's just Beyonce.
Beyonce calls in the cavalry here. Again, tough in the dark to tell the different animals, which character is which. With that scar. Chased off the rock here.
It's hard to tell in the dark which character's which. Not anything to do with the character design.
Which character is which. With that scar. And here we go. Here's the mouse from the beginning of the movie that got away from Scar, and he outlasted Scar. How do you like that? If that's not a lesson, kids, I don't know what is. All the little children.
We don't know what the mouse was like. The mouse could have been a dick. He could have been the Scar of mice. What kind of lesson is that? Fuck you.
I made sure that we had babies.
So, for your consideration, Academy, Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Actor Donald Glover. They're reaching so hard here. They're trying so hard. They're Disney. They know they can get away with this bold fucking Oscars campaign. Holy shit. Best Actor Donald Glover. I don't think there's ever in the history of the Academy Awards been an Oscar nomination for a voice actor. I don't think that's ever happened. So yeah, they also have for Avengers Endgame, Aladdin, Toy Story 4, and Frozen 2. But seriously, Best Actor Donald Glover? These are not the official Academy Award nominations, by the way. This is the for your consideration. So this is their marketing push to the Academy voters to try to get them to nominate for these categories. They listed everybody for Best Supporting Actor. What the fuck? What are you talking about? Literally everybody else. Eric Andre? Could you imagine Eric Andre getting nominated for The Lion King for Best Supporting Actor? What are they doing? What kind of ballsy move is this? What the fuck? Really? Just listing off everyone. Cinematography. I mean, Avatar gets cinematography, so that wouldn't be unheard of. Film editing? Really? Production design? What? Sound mixing and sound editing. It might get nominated for one of these. And what's really fucking bizarre is I don't see a push for Best Animated Feature. Look at all these I don't see Best Animated Feature anywhere. It's Best Picture. What? What the fuck? I gotta mention that. Literally in their push, they don't even call it an animated movie. And they're saying Best Actor, not like Best Vocal Performance or anything. Visual Effects? Best Original Song. This one might get a nomination. In fact, I'm pretty sure it will get a nomination, and it's fucking awful. I don't think this one will. I think the Beyonce one will. Because you can invite Beyonce to the Oscars, and she'll be nominated, and there will be people watching being like, will Beyonce win an Oscar? Yeah! And then people will tune in. That's why this is nominated here.
No idea. He's a very hammy villain. He's pretty over the top. He's pretty wild. I'm only looking out for the well-being of my favourite nephew. I know who you are.
All caps BCK. It was interesting to hear what the cheery tell ETF4. And for the most chilling quote of the movie, "Long live the king, baby, he does it."
It'll be interesting to hear. You gotta check it out. Let's see if it happens.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna use this clip. I forgot. I'm glad
Look how they massacred my boy.
Look how they massacred my boy. Should I just like throw Scar's head in there? Just like see if I can like Get it so that when he pulls it off, it's...
something that was very intense and again just kind of broken and slightly beaten, you know, and this being his one sort of rallying cry, you know, the most, you know, it's the most important moment.
I don't know what happened to the song. Like, all the interview footage, they talk about it as though it was an actual song and not just like thrown together a couple lines sort of thing. And we know from these articles that like Be Prepared was something that was like originally going to be cut from the film and then wound up being in the film later. Like, I don't know what they did. It's very confusing.
Of his life. It's
Came up with this beautiful poetry. And so it feels like it'll be prepared, but if you look in the credits, you'll see it's actually Be Prepared 2019 version. And so
It does
feels
not feel
feels
like it.
Be Prepared, but it actually deviates quite a bit. And of course, the visuals deviate quite a bit as well. This is one of the last sequences to be finished.
How can you, like, you have so many other points in the commentary where you're saying, like, we can't deviate from this scene because people remember it so well. What are you talking, like, you deviated so much from Be Prepared. What are you talking, like, that's one of the most memorable songs in the film. What are you talking about?
Mufasa. It can't be.
Yes.
Hey guys, thanks for watching my video. I need to give a shout out to my $5 patrons. Mecha Dong, Big Weld from Robots the Animated Movie, Brandon Stuper, E-Man7Blue, Tequila Cinema, and Pit Wang. Thank you so much for your support, and I will see you guys later.